don't forget to click that subscribe and bell icon to receive a notification each time I upload a new video. Hi everyone, it's Mike here. So it's time for a brand new Mission Inspiration Art Challenge over on our Facebook group. So without further ado, I will turn over to my overhead camera and show you the prompt for the month of March, supplied this month by Victoria Warren-Mears, and I'll explain and go through what I'm going to create using the prompts. Okay, so these are the prompts for March set by Victoria Warren-Mears, who's been a long-time friend of both my YouTube channel and the Mission Inspiration Facebook group. Vicky is also now an admin on the Facebook group, helping to make sure that the group runs smoothly. So we have magnificent machines. So we've got handwritten text, frame or border, fabric scraps, metallic paints, book text, and the three colours are berry red, cerulean blue or cerulean blue, whichever way you want to pronounce it, and copper. So once again, I'm going to be working in my my 7-inch triangle journal. I've just popped open the pages there just to kind of get it to lay a little bit flatter. So colours, berry red. I've gone into my Deco Art collection and pulled out the cherry red, which is just a little bit of a darker red. I haven't got a cerulean blue, so I'm going to use Indian turquoise, which is as near as I've actually got to ordinary blue. And for copper, I'm going to be using an indigo blue paint, which is Miss Moneypenny, which obviously is a metallic copper, which then will tie into the metallic paint over here as well as there. So to start off with then, I'm going to put down a base coat of paint using the cherry red. So first of all, just give it a good shake up just to make sure that the binder hasn't split from the pigment, as it sometimes does with these Americana paints. And I'm just going to put the paint directly onto the page. I haven't added any gesso at all. No gesso on this page, whatsoever. So we'll give the page a really good covering of that berry red paint. But I'm deliberately leaving a little bit of a border all the way around. I don't want it even, I don't want it to look a little bit wavy. We've got some schmutz there, so we'll get rid of that. There we go. So there's the first paint colour going down. Now, because I've put the red down first, as soon as I add any of that cerulean blue, we're going to get purple tones. So, and purple isn't my favourite colour, as many of you will know. So I'm going to try and avoid putting a huge amount of the blue down. So I've just cleaned off my brush, and then let's grab some of that blue, and then we'll get this red dried off first of all, because I don't want to mix. It's a surefire way of getting purple. So let's just add some of that blue down there, get this dried off, which won't take long. Okay, so that's already dry. So I have got somewhere, what did I do with it? I trust it's on the other end of the room. There we go. Some craft sponges. And I'm just going to grab my XYZ stencil, or XYZ stencil, and that is what I'm going to use to put some of that blue paint. So this is just an artist's or craft sponge that I've cut up just to create a dabber. And because we've done the red, or dried the red paint first, it shouldn't mix too much, so you shouldn't get too much of a blue contamination. Blue contamination, purple contamination, there you go, that's what I'm trying to say. So we'll add some of those directional arrows. Because I'm using a sponge that's not even, has holes in it, you're not getting, apart from getting a splodge like that, you're not getting a complete even kind of coating of the paint. It is kind of grungy, which is exactly what I wanted. Apart from that bit at the top, which is probably seeped under. There you go. But can't be helped. And then down here we'll have that kind of number. Just do it gently, just to give it a hint. There we go. So maybe I might just add some of those little arrows on there too. I don't want to push too hard. That's when you end up flooding it and getting all the paint going underneath the stencil. There we go. That'll do. Right, put that to one side, get this dried off. Even when I don't try. Okay, so those bits of paint have now dried, so it's time to add in, let's bring that back in. So we've now got berry red and the cerulean blue, no copy just yet. So I want to try and bring in some of this book text next. So I've got two pieces of, now I'm not going to stick them directly down, don't worry about that. I've got two pieces of dictionary text. So this one's got spark and spark plug on it, which I think is quite good. So I'm going to just tear some of these pieces. I think spark plug can stay there. And I'm going to add that just kind of on the end there with some glue. So I've got my glue stick. Not going to use a lot of wet glue on this one. So I'll add that on there. And then I'm going to take a piece from the bottom, or maybe just from across here. See, the reason I've done it in the triangle shapes is just to make it easy for me to work out where things can be taken from. I know it's a weird thing to do, but you know, nobody ever said I wasn't weird. Alright, so I've got that line kind of there. So let's get some glue on that. Okay, so that's at that side. So now I'm going to do similar over here, but this time let's take it from this side. So that can go about there. Not the sort of colour combo that I would have chosen myself, but it's good occasionally to step outside your comfort zone and try something completely new that you wouldn't necessarily have thought of yourself. Colours can have a real pop if they, you know, if they're not kind of similar. So obviously you've got reds, which are warm colours, and then you've got the blue, which is obviously cold. So they can really pop when added together. Okay. Like that. So we've got those. So now I've got my pieces of book text. I've also got fabric scraps are down there, so pieces of fabric. So somewhere amongst my collection I've got some pieces of old Tim Holtz wallflower fabric that I've got some self-adhesive on the back. So I'm going to use those as kind of pieces of washi tape and then peel the backing off. Now then, I'm just wondering whether I ought to do this now or whether I ought to wait until I've got my... No, I think I'm going to wait until I've got my focal points on. Alright, so first focal point is going to go about here. So, but I am going to cut it so that it doesn't fit where it's going over the edge, so it'll be coming off that end there. I might just tear it just to kind of give it that. Yeah, let's tear it. Just to keep that kind of aesthetic going with the torn edges and the rough edges. So I'll put that, maybe just leave a little bit of the red showing underneath. Yeah, like that. Don't forget the theme is magnificent machines, so that doesn't necessarily always have to mean mechanical machines. Obviously you can have electrical machines as well. Okay, so I have already got a little cut in this. I've already created a little slit for another item that I want to add in a second. So I'm not going to glue that part down first or straight away. Just do those edges, but I've left that little piece there sticking up because I want to add in this fantastic gentleman. So I'll get some glue on there. And then I'm going to just slot that in, just so it's coming out of that space there. Making sure I'm avoiding that crease in the page. That's it. I'm liking that. And then we've got another piece of like technology. I should have added some more of that blue paint down here. So I'm going to completely cover that up now. which is a shame. I suppose I could come down to about there, kind of. I really ought to add some more of that blue there, but we can do that in a moment. Not all is lost. This is a bit of a treat for me, using somebody else's prompts. Normally they're mine. So now that my friend Linda has kind of retired, who helped last year with the Mission Inspirations, I kind of thought I would have to do all the prompts this year on my own, but happily some of the admins on the Mission Inspiration Facebook group have stepped up to help. Plus it also gives a different perspective rather than just mine, doesn't it? Okay, so let's bring that blue stencil back in. Just grab a little bit of the blue paint. Don't want a huge amount. And I've still got my little sponge that I use. It probably hasn't even dried yet. No, it's still wet, so that's good. So I'll just reload it back up again, and then this time we'll bring, what should we bring in? Yeah, let's do a little bit of that. There we go. That's better. Like that now. Okay, so grab my wet wipe, bit of a quick tidy up. There we go. Maybe a fresh one. Also get rid of that glue in the process. Tidy crafting, eh? There we go. Okay, so fabric scraps. So let's bring those fabric scraps back in. So peel the backing off, and I'm going to use that as kind of like washi tape. A piece there, and then a piece about there. Just down that side. Gives it a little bit of warmth, and then I'm going to add, let's just cut that down a little bit. I think I've gone off the straight and narrow on that one. Let's just trim that down, and then also just give it a little bit of a raggedy edge. There we go. Now hopefully I should be able to pull that, take it off. Sometimes when your adhesive is quite strong, there we go, it's difficult to peel off the back. So let's bring that just down there. Okay, so we've still got a few more elements to add. So we've got book text, we've got that little pop of blue, we've got that fabric, so we've got fabric scraps, book text, I've got my focal point, got the colours, so now we need to add some of that copper. Copper. So where is it? There it is. So I haven't used this yet. Ooh, so lid's coming off. This is a brand new mini pot. There are 20 mils in this. So let's just take that off. I've got a smaller brush. So we've got some nice kind of copper elements. So I'm going to just drag that down the page now, just to kind of add some sheen and tone that red down just a little. and also just to tone down that book text. I'm just going to drag it over the top, almost like I'm dry brushing, just to give it a little bit of kind of like patina. And because these paints from Indigo Blue are also fabric paints, it's okay to go over the fabric washi. So just drag them down. Just helps to kind of unify and tone everything together, because these colours can seem a bit kind of wowy at first glance. I'm trying to avoid just getting too much of the copper paint on my character's face here. I don't mind getting a little bit on like his jacket. Okay. Just helps to tone down that red a little bit, because it can be a bit overpowering. It's a bit of an angry colour. Just catch the edges. Just grunge it up. Almost kind of turns it a little bit industrial. And look at that. Let's tone that blue down a bit in the background. You can still see it as a highlight. Like I've always said, you don't necessarily have to use all three colours equally. You can just choose one as your main colour and then another as an accent. Just use the one colour if you want. You don't have to use all three. Choice is yours, as long as you're inspired by something, you know, on the mission, then we've done our job. But as I've often said, sometimes, you know, it takes a lot to get some people inspired. Sometimes, no matter what we do, people are still lost or stumped. And unfortunately, on those days, you know, there's not a lot we can do, or anybody can do, if your mojo just isn't there. We can try by giving you ideas, suggestions, but if inspiration's not coming, regardless, sometimes it is just best just to say, do you know what, I'll call it a day for today. But for me, I'm liking that. I'm liking the subtleness, that you don't necessarily see it until you catch it in the light. Maybe just a little bit more just on there. Yeah, that's it. I'll just wet my finger then, just to kind of move it a little bit. And I'm trying to avoid catching his face, but just very, very subtly, just use the brush. Okay, that's that. Put the lid back on with glue just for a second. Get this cleaned up, get this dried, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so there's the page. Got that nice kind of shine. We've got those bits of machinery, bits of mechanical component. So let's just bring the sheet back in and see what we've got now. So we've done, what have we done so far? So we've got now all three colours, so berry red, blue and the copper. We've now got fabric, metallic paint, book text. Now frame or border, I've deliberately left that white border all the way around, so that kind of creates a natural border, but I will go back with a pen later. And then next we've got handwritten text. So I've got some pieces of paper that are from an old book. It has nothing written on it, but it's just kind of off-white, almost a creamy colour. So I'm going to handwrite, see if I can hold it down. My battery just went flat just as I was writing that out. So I've written the word invention, which is going to go on there. And then the other piece, I just have to do very, very quickly. So I'm going to just put the word of, and then just kind of make that, and then get that to kind of fit. Kind of scripty writing, a bit scrabby. I don't usually use my own handwriting in art journal pages because I'm not very good at doing it. So, but that'll do. So I'll get some glue on the back of that. And then we're going to put that up there. And then this one might just tear a little bit really quickly. I'm not distressing it. I'm not going to distress the edges. I'm just going to leave it as it is. So get some glue on the back of there. And that can go across there, I think. Like I said, a bit different for me. Right, grab that pen, and then I'm going to just quickly go around the outside. Just creating a bit of a scrabby border, scribbly border, scrabbly border. Whatever description best fits. There we go. I need to add a little bit more glue just there because it seems to have come off a little bit. Oh, that sounds like Mr. Bentley just woken up. That means it must be time for his WALK, and he's just letting the house know. I have awoken, he says. See, that doesn't look too bad. So, just want to add a little bit more blue. Just a tad more blue. Just as a bit more of a pop. So this time, I'm just going to use the quatrefoil stencil. Grab some of that paint again. And then this time I'm just going to go a little bit across the page. Now I'm going to do it lightly and onto the fabric. I'm definitely having problems with my camera battery today. It keeps going off after a few minutes, and that's not good. Right, so quickly then, just the last little bit just up there, and I think I'm going to call this page done. Just quickly dry that off. Okay, one last thing I think. One last little thing. Just because, and no other reason. A little bit of white. Just quickly wash the brush, mix that up, and then just put my finger there. It's not very wet. It's better. And that's just going to break that up a little bit. And I'll just flip that round and then just put that. Should theoretically, yeah, I think I'm happy with that now. So a quick clean up and then I'll be right back, because as per usual I've splattered everywhere. Okay, so they're all now dried. I've gone back over with my black pen just on those borders just to reinforce the border again, but I also grabbed just a quick white jelly roll pen and just kind of went through those letters just to kind of make them pop a little bit more against that background, just to kind of make them a bit more well formed. But there you go, there's the page. That's me done. So all I have to do is just sign it and date it, and today, because it's Friday rather than Saturday, the 5th, so that I'm ready to go. 5th of the 6th, look. 5th of March the 3rd, 21. One of these days I'll get the hang of it, and by that time it's probably December. There you go. So let's have a quick look. What have we done? Frame border, handwritten text. So all three colours, magnificent machines, ta-da, genius of invention, and then handwritten text, frame or border. Frame we've done around the white and then around the black. Handwritten text with our quote or phrase. Fabric scraps, so we've used that Tim Holtz's stuff, which is now blended quite nicely into the background, I think. Metallic paint. There's the copper, lovely. And book text. Scraps of book text in the background there. So we've incorporated everything from that prompt card for the month of March from Victoria. So there you go. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me put that art journal page together. If you have, please remember to give it a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. And don't forget, if you haven't joined us in the Mission Inspiration Facebook group already and you'd like to, that's the URL on screen now, but there's also a clickable link in the description area below. That's all from me for now. I'll see you all again next time. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. Thank you.